Welcome to Archaeologists Behaving Badly. I'm Belle.
I'm Raquel.
And we are doing episode
4.
We are here in one of my places of employment, and our art dealer is here at the moment, so there may be some interruptions because he's working. Also, we have an unusual number of grandfather clocks currently, so while we were setting up, they were going off, so that might happen.
Yeah.
anything could happen.
Anything could happen. It's one of those episodes.
Yeah. We are doing the first in a series of where we just pick a country and talk about anything.
Yeah.
And we chose India.
Yeah.
Because
I'm half Indian and I don't really know that much, and I really should probably know more, I think. I don't know, just choosing a random topic, and why not? Something we can both learn a bit from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to.
Attempt to, yeah.
So I'm going to go first because Raquel went first last episode. Mm-hmm. So I'm just doing a very general overview of the Indus Valley Civilization.
Cool.
Because it's probably my favourite ancient civilization.
Yep.
Because it's really fucking interesting.
It's super interesting, yeah. I don't know actually too much about it. I haven't done a lot of research in that part of it. I definitely know about it, but I'm excited.
You should know more.
I should know more, but this is why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm. But it's it's so extensive and there's so much interesting shit about it. Like, you could talk for hours and hours. So this is a very generalized
overview of the... Yeah, cool.
So it was a Bronze Age civilization lasting from 3300 BCE to 1300 BCE. And its sites span from northeast Afghanistan through Pakistan to Western India.
Okay.
It's called the Indus Valley Civilization because many of its main sites are along the alluvial plains and the tributaries of the Indus River.
Yep.
As well as lots of sites along a system of monsoon-fed rivers that are connected to... Oh, there we go. Connected to the Gaga Hakra River, which I think is in Pakistan.
Okay.
It's roughly contemporary with other riverine ancient civilizations that most people know way more about, like ancient Egypt on the Nile, Mesopotamia on the Euphrates and Tigris. Or Tigris. Is it Tigris?
I have no idea.
No, me either. Cool. And ancient China in the drainage basin of the Yellow River and Yangtze. I think that, who knows how you say it.
But that makes sense because you want to be close to water sources. So it just makes sense that, civilizations are going to be...
That's where they're going to flourish.
That's where they're going to be.
Yeah. It's also known as the Harappan civilization, which is just named after the site Harappa, which is kind of known as its type site because it was the first one that was fully excavated.
Yeah, I always thought that they were separate.
No.
Every time that I've, it's come up when I've been doing readings or like research or whatever, I've always thought that they were separate. I didn't realize that it was also a part of it.
Yeah, Harappa's just one of the cities.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And it is one of the more significant cities along with Mohenjo-Daro, I think, is the other one.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's known as the type site because it was the first excavated.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
In the 1920s, I think it was excavated.
Okay.
Cities of ancient Indus have been noted for their baked brick houses, urban planning, sophisticated drainage system, water supply systems, clusters of large non-residential buildings, and a metallurgy.
Cool.
The first modern account of the Indus Valley ruins comes from a deserter of the East India Company's army.
Okay.
A guy named Charles Masson. And in 1829, he was travelling the region collecting information, basically, for the East India Company.
Okay.
As, in exchange for clemency for the fact that he deserted.
Okay.
So he was just trying to
get out of the shit, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collecting information, collecting artifacts, recording stuff as he kind of moved through the region.
Okay.
His major discovery, and I've written discovery in quotation marks because he didn't discover it, was the site of Harappa.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure Harappa is in Pakistan.
Okay.
Even though our episode is India, but it was India at the time.
Yeah.
It's now Pakistan.
Yeah. It's the same kind of region. And
The
political
same
borders.
cultural heritage.
Yeah.
So he recorded and illustrated buildings and artifacts. When he was there in 1829, the site had already been looted heavily for artifacts and building materials.
Yeah.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
Like,
it's everywhere.
it happens.
Yeah.
Whether it's to sell stuff or to reuse materials or whatever. So in 1848, there was a war between the Sikh Empire and the British East India Company, and the Sikh Empire lost. So the Punjab region was like included into the British East India's Company's control. After this is really sad, but it happened. After this, Harappa was looted even more. And a lot of the building materials were used as ballast for railway lines being laid.
That's so sad.
How horrific.
You can just imagine how much has been taken away and how that landscape has changed from its...
Classic colonialism.
Absolutely. That's sad.
In 1858, the British Crown took control of the region, and in 1861, the Archaeological Survey of India was set up. So that's where, like, from 1861 onwards is where more formal archaeological investigation was happening, recording and some excavation.
I think like Sir Mortimer Wheeler, I think, was like involved with that. I think. Yeah.
I haven't written anything about that because it's a very brief overview.
That's just something. Yeah.
The mature phase of the Indus Valley Civilization was from 2600 to 1900 BCE.
Okay.
But pre-Harappan culture, which is where they think that a lot of the culture came from, began at a site called Mehrgarh, which is a site in the mountains in Pakistan. And that site kind of was established around 7000 BCE.
Wow.
So it's like really old.
Super old.
Yeah.
Love that.
And that's I think it's the oldest site in all of South Asia where there's like farming and herding.
Oh, wow.
Evidence of farming and herding
like
practices.
Agriculture.
Yeah.
Cool.
As of today, there's over 1,000 sites that have been found.
Wow.
So it's a massive area and massive civilization.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down, but it was some number of million people.
Many people.
Many people.
Yeah, much people, yeah.
And of those 1,000 sites, only about 100 have been excavated.
Wow. So they know that they're there, but they've just left them.
Yeah.
I think like another issue, especially in India, is a lot of these sites are underneath already populated areas. So you can't do anything about that. It's...
Well, that's like in Egypt.
Yeah.
From being there, Thebes, which was the ancient capital, is underneath Luxor.
Yeah.
So you can't really excavate it.
No, you know it's there, but unless you've got the rights to, and that you're going to be demolishing a building or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's only one tiny little bit of and that's it. That's all you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5 major urban centres of the civilization are Mohenjo-Daro, which is in the lower Indus Valley, Harappa in the western Punjab region, Ganeriwala in the Cholistan Desert, Dholavira in the western Gujarat, and Arakighari in Haryana. As with every episode, apologies for mispronunciations.
Yeah.
Because
that's how we roll, apparently. Yeah.
Uncultured is how we roll. Sorry.
We try. Okay, we try.
Okay, so some of my favorite kind of facts about them as a civilization are they evolved new techniques in metallurgy, producing copper, tin, bronze, and lead. They were among the first civilization to develop a uniform system of measurement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
and weight.
Oh, nice.
So that you can look up, like they have these like weight blocks that have been found, and they were uniform across the entire civilization.
Wow.
Which is really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
They do have really beautiful artifacts, statuettes, and steatite seals, which have been found. But actually, it's like, compared to other ancient civilizations, there's actually not that many artifacts that have been found.
Okay. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but is it something like they haven't completely deciphered?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the
Sorry.
that's next on the list.
Sorry,
actually,
I will.
the Indus script has never been deciphered.
Yeah, I've heard that because I think I saw something. I think this was like during uni or something like that, where they even had street signs or something.
Yeah.
Or they were able to determine that I think this meant a street sign, or I think this meant this, but they don't know.
Yeah,
what
and
it says.
and
Yeah.
they have all these seals, and again, you can look them up with like the script on it, and then images as well on the seal of like a buffalo type animal, or and they don't know what it like. They're for trade probably, but like not actually sure what
it means. That's really cool.
But I wonder like how many people have tried to decipher it, or how many people are currently working on it.
Yeah.
Because that will be a
massive breakthrough
if it does get,
because it's hard.
out.
It's hard to decipher. I mean, you know, with hieroglyphics, we had the Rosetta Stone, which was the key to deciphering that. It's so hard when you have nothing to reference it off. Yeah, but that would be huge if that happened in our lifetime. Incredible.
And someone we know, actually, Peter Matthews, who we have worked with.
Yeah.
He was
also my professor.
Was he?
Yeah.
I think he had left when I started.
Yeah, he'd left by that time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I got to do some planning on a city site with him. But he was part of, I think when he was still at uni, because it must have been like the 70s maybe.
Yeah.
Part of deciphering the Mayan.
Yeah, and he's huge in that field.
And
there's documentaries with him in it.
Yeah. And he has some great stories.
He does. He's awesome. He was my favorite professor.
Yeah, he's very lovely.
Yeah, he's super lovely. He's such a lovely guy.
Yeah, so the language, the script, many scholars believe it's related to the Dravidian language family, which is spoken today, which is made up of like many different languages. It's a whole family of languages spoken in southern India, northern Sri Lanka, and southwestern Pakistan, and spoken today by around 250 million people.
Sanskrit? Is Sanskrit like a what do you call it? Like a offshoot of that?
You're asking the wrong gal.
Okay, it might be.
We should, for these kind of situations, have like a laptop down here where we can just
and do a bit of
Google
a pause.
stuff
Yeah.
and pretend that we're smarter than we actually are.
I'm pretty sure Sanskrit's because that's the kind of the main offshoot of the current like Indian like languages, and Sanskrit's still used very heavily today.
Okay.
Yeah. My grandmother tried to teach me Sanskrit when I was a kid, and I was like, no thanks. I'm super into Egypt. And I totally regret it now. But
I don't care about my own heritage.
I can now, okay? I can now. That's all that
There's
matters.
always time to learn.
That's it.
So there was significant urban planning in the construction of the cities, including the world's first known urban sanitation system. So that had never... Lots of people think it was the Romans.
That's what this is what we were talking about last episode, where it's like we always think that Rome And Greece had the
Started
monopoly
everything.
of literally all knowledge of everything. But no, that's so cool.
Yeah. So for homes, so they either had like individual homes, or they would have like groups of homes kind of together.
Okay. Like complexes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water was obtained from wells. Within the homes or groups of homes, they had like a dedicated room for bathing or water use or whatever it was. Probably bathing.
Yeah.
And from that room, wastewater was collected and went down like a covered drain, and all the streets were lined with drains.
And this was like way before the Romans
Yep.
had anything.
Literally thousands of years before the Romans.
Yeah. And even like the Middle Ages in like, you know, in England and stuff like that. Like the waste management was even
I don't think
worse.
I don't think the Middle Ages in England is very well known for its like hygiene.
Sanitary practices. Yeah.
I see so many TikToks about how white people wash themselves. And it's so fucking true.
It's true.
Okay, in contrast to ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia and China, there are no large monumental structures.
Okay.
So there's no massive statues of people or gods or anything. There's no palaces. There's no temples.
Wow.
There are some larger, possibly non-residential buildings, but they don't quite know what they're for, and they're not ornate in their architecture.
Yeah.
They're just like bigger buildings.
And especially if you can't decipher the language as well. You can't, here we go again. You can't associate certain buildings and stuff with certain
with anyone
uses, with anyone.
Uses.
Yeah.
Another one. Fuck. Sorry, guys.
Anyway.
The grandfather clocks just need their time to shine.
They need their time. They want to say hello.
Is this going to chime? Okay,
Yeah,
I think
we're
that,
good. Yeah, we're good.
I think we're good. The only kind of larger monumental structure is the Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro.
Okay.
Which is like a massive, bath thing with steps leading into it, which I think they kind of think was maybe for ritual bathing or something like that.
Like a public kind of.
Yeah.
That's really cool because, again, you usually associate baths and stuff with the Roman period, the bathhouses and communal bathing and stuff. But this was happening clearly way earlier than that.
Thousands of years.
So
before.
cool. So cool.
There is nothing in the archaeological record indicating a centre of power. The only thing that indicates some sort of central authority is how uniform the cities are.
Okay.
Like the planning that's gone into the cities.
Yeah. So they've got some kind of structure.
Yeah. There's someone or a group, there's a group of people organising that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think how uniform the cities are, like across the various cities, across a huge region, as well as like the measurements and weights.
Yeah.
And the seals and pottery and stuff. There's uniformity across that. So obviously there's some sort of leadership, but there's nothing else indicating like
interesting
leaders.
Yeah.
Individual leaders.
And hierarchy.
Yeah. There's pretty much nothing known about their religious or spiritual beliefs aside from potentially ritual bathing.
Yeah.
And some of the like statuettes and stuff, there are like dancing girls. So I read a little bit, but like not that much, honestly. There's like a mother goddess and a father goddess kind of thing that's been theorized.
Okay.
But there's not actually
like a solid.
There's no like hard evidence for it.
That's crazy. I think I remember reading years ago that Mohenjo-Daro they never found any weapons.
I didn't read that while I was writing this up, but I have read that.
Yeah, which is insane. I think that's one of the only, like when you're talking about a big settlement, to have no weapons of any kind.
Yeah.
And that kind of fits in with this whole weird idea of maybe less of a hierarchy.
But they would have had to like, I know all of the citadels are walled in, so that's kind of some level of protection.
And why would you need those walls?
If no one was trying to...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have to... If you know more than we do, which is very likely... If you know specifically anything about the weapons, then let us know.
Yeah, and comment on this and tell us what you think and
tell us where we're wrong.
Yeah, and if
or tell us where we're right and make us feel good about
please.
Ourselves.
Thank you.
So the general consensus currently is that climate change is what caused their decline.
Okay.
There was a drought and reduced trade with Egypt and Mesopotamia sometime around 1800 BCE.
Yeah, okay.
Which I think 1800 BCE. I'm pretty sure that's around the time Tutankhamun was the pharaoh. I think.
Maybe.
In Egypt. Maybe that's right. Oh, no.
No,
he was 18th dynasty.
Yeah, 18th
not
dynasty.
1800.
No, he couldn't have been because he would have been after Ramses, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Listen, I've had quite a few wines and I've had kind of a rough morning, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair enough. Neither of us do. It's fine. We're in this together.
And the last thing I've written is that there's lots of elements of Indus culture that appear in later cultures of the whole area. So it's not like... I remember when I first read about the Indus Valley Civilization years ago, it was one of those ones where, like, same as like the Mayan civilization, where for a long time people were just like, they just disappeared.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, they didn't.
They didn't, yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that lots of elements of what little we do know about them appeared in later cultures.
Yeah.
They didn't just disappear.
There was a
moved
reason.
to different areas. And
yeah. And I think I read something about Mohenjo-Daro where it looked like everyone just packed up and left, which would make sense if there was some kind of environmental situation and there was like signs of that and you're just like,
people are just slowly...
Yeah.
And then eventually it's like, okay.
That's it.
Wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Wrap it up. Like, we're out. Yeah, totally. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
But still, that's really cool. It's such a place and a point in time in history where I think is often overlooked because it's so unique, you know?
Yeah, and the fact that, I don't know, like, people know so much about Egypt, obviously. We've talked about it. The obsession with Egypt. And Mesopotamia as well, people know a lot about.
Yeah.
Ancient China, like all these contemporaneous civilizations, and actually not that many people know about Indus Valley.
No, it kind of gets overlooked, and I think it's...
when it's so fucking cool.
It's so
and
cool.
this is like nothing.
Yeah. You should look it up. Yeah. Look it up. Trust me. It's... yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Cool. That was awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Your turn now.
My turn. Yeah, so I've got a couple of little tidbits, I guess, to talk about. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was looking at where Indian culture or goods have turned up in other places.
Oh, cool.
Because it really shows like the trade between South Asia.
Extensive.
Super extensive.
Yeah.
And so I wrote my thesis on the spice trade between South Asia and the Roman Empire.
What a time that was for you.
Yeah, what a time. Those 2 years were great. Not. Yeah, so knowledge of Indian history for a half Indian person is so limited, so limited to a particular niche topic and time period, and I know nothing else. So this is what I got, which is funny because I should probably know more, and I do recognize that. So anyway, so my thesis was looking at the trade between India and, well, South Asia in general and the Roman Empire around the first century.
Which is an awesome topic.
Which is, it's a huge topic. It's massive. And looking at that and looking at the archaeological evidence within South Asia that proved that trade, because that trade we know a lot about from documented sources from Rome generally, or Greek really. But what is really cool was that a really important spice that was traded out was pepper. And it was, and it was like the most important trade good, I guess, for the Roman Empire.
And it's probably the most important spice used. I mean, people don't even consider it a spice because it's just so common.
Yeah.
Every household has pepper.
Yeah. And the Roman Empire loved it and needed it. And so they were definitely trading before the 1st century AD, but around the 1st century AD, it really kind of ramped up.
Okay.
And then they were distributing it within the Roman Empire, like to all the regions that were occupied by the Roman Empire. And it was such an important spice. I mean, food is such an important thing in any culture and any society. And it was hugely important.
Yeah.
For the Romans. And I think we should cook something one day.
Yes.
And film the disaster that it will be.
I'm in. I'm already in. Is there wine? I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be wine. Of one of the like Roman.
Let's do it.
What are they called? Like recipes.
What are they called?
Well, they're called recipes. That's what they're called. Too many wines. Recipes. Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. But super interesting was, so Ramses II, so we're going all the way out to Egypt at this point. Mm-hmm. So when Ramses II was discovered and was analysed, they found peppercorns in his nostrils.
Wow.
So they had placed peppercorns, Indian peppercorns, in his nostrils, and they found that. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, and he was around 1214 BC.
Okay.
So way before the 1st century AD.
Yeah.
You know? So obviously trade was happening, as we know, as like you talked about before, there was definitely trade with Egypt, but it would have been on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so they think, I mean, the only kind of logical reasoning is that these peppercorns were used in a ritual sense as a part of the embalming and ritual, and
maybe the people embalming the bodies were like, dead bodies smell fucked. Let's give this pharaoh
a little bit
something up there so he doesn't have to smell his decaying
Oh my
body.
God, totally. It's like totally true, right? Love that. Yeah, so and that's really cool, where you can find like evidence of direct trade just from indirect or direct, but at least trade with India all the way, with India. And Kerala, I think, is where peppercorns are generally.
Where is?
Yes, there we go. Another chimey
ding-a-ling-a-ling. Where is Kerala?
Kerala is in the southwest.
Okay.
The very, very south, in the west region of India. And yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I also just wanted to have talk a little bit about some of the amazing universities that ancient India had.
That ancient India had?
Yeah. That I never heard about at university.
The first I'm hearing about it is right this very second.
Yeah. So there's a couple. So one of them was in the city of Taxila. So Taxila is actually in Pakistan, but it was originally in that Indian region before Pakistan became Pakistan.
I was about to say, I've heard of Taxila, but
Yeah.
no, I haven't.
Oh.
It's just from when I printed out your...
Oh, yes.
I saw the word.
Oh, what is this Taxila? Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Idiot.
And it's where they think the oldest ever known university was located,
That's so cool.
which I think is really cool because, like I said, I've never heard about this anywhere else. So the city was founded in the 10th century BC.
Wow.
Yeah. And, yep, now in modern day Pakistan. So it's kind of a bit of a topic where people are a little bit, I don't know,
Have some feelings about
have
it?
some feelings about.
Yeah.
So some say it wasn't one big building where students and teachers would go to learn stuff, but maybe more of like a town with a tradition of having a lot of freelance teachers.
Okay.
And so where a lot of people came to study from these freelance teachers. So it was kind of like maybe a city where just heaps of people who knew a lot of stuff just congregated.
And just would teach anyone coming and going.
Yeah, kind of. So it wasn't like one big building, but maybe just more of an area where people went to.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit contested.
Okay.
So others think that it was more of like a university where it was more structured, where
Okay.
students came and there were teachers. And they also believe that it was highly systemized and taught Vedic texts. So the Vedic texts, I don't know too much about it, but they're very old teachings, and they teach a lot about, like, I think, like anatomy and all sorts of different stuff.
Cool.
As well as like rituals, science, medicine, and arts is what was being taught in Taxila at this time.
Amazing.
Yeah. And one scholar even says that some of Buddha's besties / close followers all studied there. And so
Wow.
there was like his doctor apparently studied there, and all these other people who studied all sorts of different stuff.
So some of his teachings may have come
So they were
from
influenced.
there.
So he was maybe influenced by the teachings that were given to his closest friends from Taxila. And so kingdoms were coming and going in the region, as anywhere, literally anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you've got people conquering and taking over and then rebuilding. And but the university officially kind of stopped operating in the 5th century AD. So
Okay.
it was long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
1500 years?
yeah, so I think the city founded in the 10th century BC,
Okay,
but
but
I don't think the teachings, like the
Right.
university part, started until the 5th century BC.
Okay. So
But that's still 1,000
that's still
years.
1,000 years.
Yeah. India also had another really super old university called Nalanda, and it was located in the northeast of India, and it operated between 497 AD to 1197 AD.
Fuck.
So that's still a very long time ago. And like 1,500 years ago is basically when it started. And it's considered one of the world's most influential learning centers in the ancient
I've
world.
never heard anything about it.
But this is like
Ever.
this is the thing, you know, it's exactly like we were saying before, and like last episode, everyone kind of gets taught that all these sciences and all these learning kind of spheres come out of the Romans or come from the Greeks.
Yeah, Southern Europe. and
Yeah.
that's it.
And it kind of stems from there. But this was happening in India
Way before.
way before, and continued. And so this university called Nalanda was particularly known for promoting the patronage of arts and academics, particularly in the 5th and 6th centuries AD. So,
Okay.
and which is considered the golden age of India. So this was, it kind of gives me the Library of like Alexandria vibes or something.
Yeah.
You know, this real kind of this place of learning and people coming in, and
Yeah.
you know,
I wonder if because there is now kind of so much written about or talked about Greek and Roman philosophers learning a lot of their shit from Egypt, and now that's kind of become more common knowledge.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of them travelled to South Asia.
Well, there was definitely...
Like, they must have.
They must have. And there was definitely a trade link there happening.
Yeah.
So that must have been happening. But we just...
I've never read anything about it.
No. It's super... I don't know. It's a little bit sad.
Yeah.
That is kind of overlooked. So even the decimal system, the decimal numeral system, including the concept of zero, was actually invented in India during this period. Yeah. So, you know, you think of Pythagoras and you think of all that stuff coming from...
all of the maths.
All of the math things that I am not good at.
No, me either.
And it was all kind of created under the leadership of the Guptas. I hope I'm saying that right. Which enabled the pursuit of scientific and artistic endeavours in India. So it was this really it kind of sounds like this really lovely open era of learning.
Sounds very romantic.
It does a little bit. And people travelled to this university from all over the world, from like Tibet, from China, from Korea and Central Asia. And it was actually the source of hundreds of texts brought over to China by Chinese pilgrims, which started the beginning of the East Asian Buddhism movement.
Wow.
So that's how it was from this university where all these texts were actually taken from to establish Buddhism over there.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I think is crazy and amazing.
Crazy and amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing.
Crazy amazing.
I'm pretty sure that's from Parks and Rec. Crazy amazing.
Pretty sure it is, actually. It's ours now. Whatever. Archaeological evidence at the university shows contact as well with Indonesia because the Indonesian kings built a monastery within the complex, the university complex over there.
Oh.
So there must have been a pretty clear connection there, or a pretty
if
established.
they were allowed to, or
So within the university there was a library. The library there had 3 multi-leveled buildings, and housed text not only on religious manuscripts, but also texts on subjects like grammar, logic, literature, astrology, astronomy, medicine, and the Vedic texts as well. So it was just this amazing kind of, like I said, reminds me a lot like the library of, Alexandria.
Yeah. And yet
no one talks about it.
No one talks about
No
it.
one talks about it.
How rude.
So actually the reason that we know what they taught, how they taught it, how the whole university actually operated, is actually through written records from Chinese students and pilgrims who went back to China and wrote all of this down.
Cool.
And so that's how we actually know about, how we know about a lot of what happened there.
Right.
Is through their,
interesting
records. Yeah. And, it was destroyed 3 times, rebuilt twice, and is currently a World Heritage UNESCO site.
As it should be.
As it should be. And I've seen photos and the ruins are incredible.
Can we go there?
Can we please go there? Can we please? Yeah, I've never been to India.
I feel like we should go there.
I feel like we should definitely go there.
I have family, like distant family, in Goa.
Mm-hmm. That's in the south. Yeah.
I know my dad, obviously I'm not Indian, but I'm not sure what they're doing there. I think my dad went to visit with his mum, maybe in the 90s or the 80s, and they maybe ran a restaurant or something there.
Oh,
but I'm pretty sure
cool.
they're still there, so we should go.
Yeah, well, I think I have family still there.
I'm pretty sure you would have some family.
I probably do. Yeah, no, so my family is Sikh and they're from Punjab, from Amritsar. So I'm sure I still have a lot of distant family over there, but Yeah. I've never been, and
Well, I think we should go.
I think we should go. Yeah, I'd love to see the Golden Temple and all of that, and all of that, and just learn a little bit more about I don't know, my culture, and because I go to temple, but that's as cultured as I get on my Indian side of my family. But yeah, we should definitely go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I've got. It's not a lot, but it's something.
It's something.
It's something.
So now that we've started doing this, and a few of our archaeology friends have seen it, and it's like, especially some of my archaeology friends in the States, we have some friends like all over the world doing it. They're going to start giving us some stories about crazy stories from sites. So if you are an archaeologist or a paleontologist or a historian, if you have a crazy story from your own experience working in the industry, working overseas, whatever it is, please, we're happy to change names and sites if need be, if the story is too crazy.
Yep.
But lots of wild stuff happens on archaeological excavations.
Yeah.
And I talked about one very small story in a friend's podcast that I was on called the Louis Diaz podcast. That was a very brief story about when I was working in Belize, and we had to buy a colleague out of a Belizean jail. So like wild stuff happens, and we would love to talk about
that stuff,
crazy stuff that happens on dig sites,
because you don't know about it.
No, that's not the stuff you're going to be able to Google.
No.
So yeah, if anyone out there has a crazy story that they know of, please write to us and tell us, because we would love to read it.
Yeah, and we know heaps goes on.
Yeah.
And we will change names.
Yeah, we don't want anyone to get sued.
No.
We don't want to get sued.
We don't want to get sued. I particularly, don't want to get sued.
I'll see you in court.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Please get in touch, and even if you have a topic or something that you think would be a really great thing to talk about, or something that you don't really know much about, but you would love to hear more of,
let us know.
Let us know in the comments or email us. But yeah, because we want to do what you think we should do too. So yeah.
And like and subscribe if you want to.
Yeah. if you feel
don't,
so obliged.
Cool. But it helps us.
It helps us. Yeah.
And follow us on Instagram. What is our Instagram?
Archaeologists Behaving Badly.
Archaeologists Behaving Badly.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Next week.